Good evening, class. My name is Shauna Van Etten, and for my procedural speech, I decided to show how to bake banana bread. I first want to start with just showing the recipe. So this side is the ingredients, and on the back we have the instructions. So first step says to preheat the oven, so we'll go heat the oven up. The recipe calls for 350, so we'll get that started, and while that's heating up, we're going to put the ingredients together. So our first ingredient is peeled and sliced bananas, which you then mash up. It's important that the bananas are ripe when you bake this bread because it gives it a little more flavor, and make sure that there's no hard pieces of banana throughout the banana bread. So once those are all mashed, you then start mixing the wet part of the ingredients. So first ingredient on the wet list is shortening. So we're going to beat our shortening in our mixer. And while that's mixing, the next ingredient is our brown sugar. And I left this in the cup to show that it's a half a cup of brown sugar, making sure it's nice and tight. And we're going to beat those until they're fluffy. It's important also to make sure that you're keeping the sides clear so that it does mix together thoroughly. So just give it a little stir and continue beating. Next ingredient is 2 eggs. So we'll add 2 eggs into our wet portion of our mixture. Making sure, of course, to get no shells in the recipe. And we'll get those in it. And next in the wet portion is our mashed bananas, the most important ingredient. And your mashed bananas, when mashed, should come out to about 2 cups of bananas. A little extra isn't bad, gives it a little more flavor. So we'll mix in these bananas, and then we'll do the secret ingredient, which is cinnamon. Now the recipe calls for about a tablespoon of cinnamon. I do a little more. And we'll give that a mix, and that will finish the wet portion of the recipe. Okay, so the dry portion of the ingredients starts with 2½ cups of flour. You add in your baking soda, which is a half of a tablespoon. Now, you have to make sure that the tablespoon is again measured flat, just like the brown sugar. Add that right in. Also, a half a teaspoon of salt as well. And lastly, a full teaspoon of baking powder. Again, just making sure that that's nice and flat as well. So you give your dry ingredients a stir. Double check your recipe to make sure you didn't forget anything. And we'll start adding in the dry to the wet, but slowly so we don't cause a mess here. So it's important to keep stirring your ingredients. And again, keeping the sides nice and clean as you go. So stopping and mixing occasionally. Now, I really like this banana bread recipe because it's a family recipe that's been passed down through my mom's side of the family. When I was a kid, I really didn't like bananas until my mom made me banana bread, so it's become a tradition now. About 3 servings of the dry ingredients should be okay. Just give it one more good mix here. You want to make sure there's no clumps of flour and baking powder in, and also that you aerate the mixture a little bit to make it nice and soft and moist when it comes out of the oven. So I'll just give it one more mix. And that's it. So now we're gonna just add the mixture to the pan that we're gonna bake it in, which is a standard sized bread pan. You do have to grease the sides of the pan to make sure that the bread doesn't stick. So you just kind of hold it out, make sure you get the sides and the bottom of the pan. And then we use a rubber spatula just to add the banana bread mixture into the pan. Does take about 40 to 45 minutes to bake. Again, we preheated the oven to 350, so we just go ahead and put it right in the middle on the top rack of the oven and let it sit for about 45 minutes.